Okay, hello. God, that was like one word. I'm back to yap, baby. I'm back to yap. All right, y'all can't stop me from yapping, man. If you don't know by now that I'm a yapper, you haven't been looking at my videos. That sounds weird to say. I'm not a big YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber at all. I just like playing this game and sharing my blueprints and helping people figure out how to put them up because the factory is a little more complicated now. And so when you put out a video about how to set something up and you just say, set up your water, not everyone knows what it means to set up your water because not everyone has spent hours in the factory. They say it's a hard holiday, clunk clunk. So not all y'all are out here on hard holidays. So we have to be as a someone creating something and then trying to share it, I have to do my part. I'm doing my part to do that. If I was like a good editor, I would put that daggum Starship Troopers picture in, but I don't have an editing software yet. I was gonna use Adobe Rush, and then it's being discontinued. So I was like, well, we're not using Adobe Rush. I'm also gonna pay $300 a year for Adobe. So still working on that. I don't know, DaVinci or something. My friend was telling me I'll find one eventually, and then I'll be able to edit in memes. In the meantime, let's yap. I want to talk about my factory, man. I want to talk about it so bad. I love the factory, right? I love it. I actually like, even when people have problems, like, man, my thing ain't working. I'm like, all right, what'd you fuck up? But like, not in a condescending way of like, what'd you fuck up, you idiot? But in like the way that like a cool dad is like, all right, what'd you mess up, right? And then like the assumption is let's go fix it together, right? Like that's the assumption. I don't think that always comes through, but that's the idea and the attitude I have about it. Um, is that I probably didn't do anything wrong, but I did because my blueprints had like a pylon in it was supposed to be there. I had forges in everyone, but the functionality of things was correct. Uh, but I want to talk about that. I want to talk about like what are those functionalities? What are things I did to make this gigantic base mega factory work? Right? Because I there's a lot of concepts spread throughout the factory that get put together to make a factory, right? And mine is just one expression of those concepts, right? Even in just this base, this is a second version. Like, there's so many options you can do, right? Like, for Forge of the Sky, there's 3 different versions. There's actually like 6. I originally had like 4 different versions, but I ended up not using them all. And while the difference may be small in terms of depot loader here, that goes at curves, right? But like not here. You can do a lot with these things. See all this space right here? You can do a lot with this to make it look different and move different and behave different and be shaped different. A lot of space, a lot of room to do stuff. So, let's talk about factory. So, this factory, I had 2 big goals I want to accomplish with this. The first goal was to decentralize production even further, right? In my last build, which I don't even know, where is that thing? The last one I shared, let me see, submitted. That was my 1.1 mega base. Yeah, look at this guy. This guy, there was a lot of decentralized production going on. Oh, will this actually pull it up? But I didn't quite know how to work with this. So like we didn't need that much space. Um Sky King Outpost had like it had some mess in it, man. I wasn't really using it, but you can kind of see this is the first time I really tried this decentralized thing. I went with this idea of having like zones of the factory. So there's like this is the agricultural zone, or the growth zone, plant zone, whatever. This is the Skyforge zone. I think I called it something else. This was what I called like the underground slash illegal Yazin zone because this used to be like a Yazin Sea was up here getting made, but and then this was the battery zone, and I kept calling this the wet works, but like I shouldn't have because wet works is like where like people get assassinated, so it was like the liquid zone, right? And a lot of this stuff is not being made and then fed directly to each other. The plants are all going into um, the core, and then they're coming out up here and being shredded, right, and sent up to the forges. Over here we have like the cuprium being made and stuff. Um, with the uh, uh, oh my goodness. Wait, that's wrong. That's why it's not working. I can't edit this. Uh, the sewage is being collected and sent over to a conduit inlet and then drained out over here into the water treatment unit, as well as being sent to the different reactors, right? So there's a lot going on, but it's all decentralized. We have, like, this is decentralized, right? Zircon is being made down here and then sent up here. So I wanted to use that idea and go a little further because I was like, I want to use the space. This game doesn't want us to, like, try and hoard the space or be as super compact as possible. That's not to say you can't, and there's nothing wrong with compact bases, right? They're pretty cool. Just that I like to look at my base a lot. And so I wanted to use the space to be able to make something that looks good in game as well, right? And that was a little more sensical. Like, you can do a lot to make bases work, but it looked kind of spaghetti. And I didn't want to do that again. Like, I had like that. Even that last one had some spaghetti to it that I wasn't too fond of. Like, open both. So, for example, like this just looks kind of weird coming out the back. Not so much over here. Kind of here. This looks a little weird. Like, it just looks like it's kind of spaghetti together. This one looks a lot better, but I ended up doing this because I needed this little corner. But this has a ton of space that's just kind of weirdly open, right? Like, it works. It actually looks pretty fine in game, but it just looks a little weird. I didn't want to have a little weird. So I tried to fix a lot of that, and I think I succeeded for the most part. The other thing is I wanted space for activities. Whoops. So, like, where could I have some space to do other things? Like, we have some here, we have some down here on these sides that I don't really use. This little puck can actually be removed from this corner as long as one of them stays. You can put it anywhere there's some space. You can either put, like, here, right? And as long as there's one touching at least one of these, you're good. There's actually, I think, enough space. Yeah, so there's enough space between this forge and this forge to where you could slide this forge up to this corner and put little puck in between right here. I don't know why you would do that, but you can. But we are also hard capped on using all 25 depot buses, so you can't really do it. We can't do too much. So I want to do that. So part of this is that. So why decentralize the production? Actually, like, why? Let's take a trip, actually. I don't think I've ever shown this, but let's take a trip back to Valley 4. Let's go to Power Plateau. So, in Power Plateau, this was the first time I built a big base. Now, let me preface that with the okie doke I'm gonna hit you with. I built this, but it was not from my own mind. This was from Bald Falk 2, I'm pretty sure that's his name, is with a 2. He put out this blueprint, and I really liked being able to fit two SC Wuling battery or SC Valley, excuse me, two HC Valley batteries into one outpost, right? And I thought, wow, this is cool. I could never make something like this, or can I? Like, the difference is that I don't understand something here. What am I not understanding then? So instead of just copying the blueprint, what I did is that I took his blueprint, and I think I put one side down. Yeah, I put like one side down, and then I built the other side myself, like using the blueprint and what I saw down, right? And the biggest thing that this guy taught me here was this concept right here. Sandleaf into a shredder that can technically fit inside of your row of Originium shredders. This was the big thing that I learned from this one. There's pack integration, but I didn't really understand the pack integration, so I didn't really do that. I also learned this, that you can siphon off some Sandleaf powder, right? You can siphon off things. It only needs 2, so you can siphon it off. That was the big things I learned from this, right? And like, you can build symmetrical if you do it right, whatever doing it right means. So everything else are things that I built. Okay, so let's take a look at the hub. Now, this is all before Wuling. Wuling was a whole thing. I got to Wuling, I was like, I don't know, man. How do I make Sheer Knight? Because that seems I need that. So I stockpiled a ton of Sheer Knight. Now, here you can see this giant open space. I didn't actually know how to build correctly, but I got it built. So you can see, kind of not exactly using that same concept of this shredding, this sand leaf being right in, but to some degree, I left space for the sand leaf to move through where it needed to get to of grinders. I believe this is a similar setup. Yeah. I think they're all using the same setup. This is this crap I made. But I ended up making this. I was very, very proud of this. A good amount of work went into this, but this was a good concept, and especially the planters. The planters were really hard to do because I knew how to do this down here somewhat. What was hard was how do you put the planter setup on top of this, right? Like, it's going to sit on top, and then it needs to deliver, like, sandleaf powder down. Like, how do you deliver sandleaf powder down there, right? That was really tough, but I ended up figuring it out, and it's pretty cool. Now, remember I said, like, oh, yeah, they don't want us to use all the space? Yeah, I'm still pretty sure of that, because this is what's going on in my Originium Science Park. Which I probably would have used if I didn't use Bald Fogs. Yeah, I'm just making some bottles that are capped out at 80k, like, every day. I made some amethyst bottles, or amethyst fibers earlier, or amethyst parts, yeah, for building stuff, and just random shit. Like, there's nothing here. There's how much space you have. Just an entire extra outpost if you are ultra compact, right? So, you know, Wuling, I was like, okay, Wuling, we're gonna not use all that. Now let's go back to Wuling. So I'm actually gonna go Jingu Valley first, because this is the easiest to explain, and you're just along for the ride of my yap at this point, right? Like, I'm talking to you, but I'm not really teaching nothing. But I will a little later talk about some of the concepts, especially here, because I absolutely loathe the daisy chaining of planting units, where it's like planting unit, or seed picking unit, planting unit, seed picking unit. Or, I'm sorry, planting unit, seed picking unit, planting unit, right? The three-part daisy chain, you just run it somewhere. I hate that. And it's not because it's a bad thing, right? It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, if that's what you do, that's what you do. I did it. I do it, right? I mean, it's done here. It's down here, right? The thing I don't like about it... Why is that going right there? Oh, that's upside down. That's right. The thing I don't like about it is that it's basic, right? I've been doing that since the start of the game. As soon as you figure out that, like, oh, shoot, wait, the seed picking unit gives 2, so I can reroute it to another one? Cool, right? That's cool. But I wanted it to look a little different, right? So I didn't want to just do the daisy chain. Now, what I liked... I don't know if I saw someone do this before or what. I don't know where I got this idea from, but I was like, can't I just... No, I was doing this... I tried to do this in my... Oh my god, you've never seen that. Yes, you did, actually. Where is this thing? It's way, way back. Oh, yeah, you guys might remember my first post of this awful planter setup. This was when I tried to not just do daisy chain, daisy chain, daisy chain, right? I tried really hard. It was very sus. And we came out with this freaking monstrosity of a build. Look at this thing, alright? This thing was a monster, right? But where else is it? Is this the other part? Yeah. So I got this kind of working. This was the basis of what you see in game now, even though it kind of doesn't look like it, right? This row where I realized you can do like 4 of these in a row and then have 2 of them, 1 seed planter supply 2 planters or seed picker. And I really like that. You see how this is all a little janky up here, what's going on. This concept of passing with the seed picking, passing up to a planter that passes somewhere else, very big. This was the real basis for what you see here. This is where I got that concept from. And so what I ended up doing was I actually started on this Jinkao side. I started on this side, and I actually started doing like a little daisy chain. I think all this was horizontal, like this is all turned to face like this. And I was like, man, this isn't working. Like, you can't really get like this turned this way and it works. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, you can send this up and then over, but then, like, how do you get this one? And then now you have... I could probably figure it out, but it's something weird about it. So I ended up turning it and doing, like, a two-part, right? Where, like, oh, wait. Seed picking units only need to deliver to one, but planting can deliver to a seed picker off to the side, right? Like, it kind of siphons one off and it keeps going. So I looked at this as a one-to-one, all the way down and up, right? So it's like one plant, one seed, one plant, one seed, all the way up. And then you just siphon it off to a planter, a seeder, and get double plant, right? You get a double plants out. And that made this kind of fall into place. Now, there is this weird gap here I haven't really figured out how to fix because of this back here. I think when I get rid of this long one, I'll be able to do it. Because this long one is actually going to not be there. I have a blueprint somewhere what this turns into. I believe we get... Where does this thing go? I don't remember. I don't remember where it goes. But I could even do like this one going into here. And then this one going up and down. But we'll see. I don't remember what I did. Maybe I did do this. I think there's two longer ones. Yeah, there are two long ones. Two long boys that have to go up and down. But I actually could... I didn't see that, actually. I could move this over and put this one into here. And then have this one go up and this one go down. Huh. And then I could move it, like, down one. Okay, anyway, sorry. I just noticed that. That's kind of cool. So anyway, or we could do the same for here. Like, this one could supply 2 again, right? And then this one can go in. Huh. Huh. Interesting. Okay, anyway, so I use that kind of concept because I wanted it to not... what I wanted was for this to look like a... like futuristic nursery of plants, right? Like, this is where you'd see in a movie or something, the big bad is like talking to somebody and like walking through inspecting the factory, and he's walking through these like rows and rows and rows of like plants. I think, you know what, now that I think about it, I think it was in Mad Max Fury Road. One of my favorite movies. I freaking love that movie. It was Mad Max Fury Road. There's a part where you see like all of the plant, like agriculture they're doing, and I think that's where I got it from, of it sticking in my head. Maybe a little bit of Blade Runner 2049, but I haven't watched it in so long. I don't remember where I would have seen that at. So that was the concept that got put in here. Now, the big concept is that when you don't daisy chain one-to-one like this, like in and out, or up here going back in, like this planter going back to this seed picker, you do stuff like the one planting unit having a double output, right? Like these planting units having double output. That's what I wanted, because it saves on wherever you're delivering to. You don't have to have a loader for each planter. You only need 4. Right? Oh, I guess it's 4. Yeah, I only need 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because 10 forges of the sky, so 10 of these. That's what I wanted, and it turned out kind of cool. So that was here. Sandleaf, however, was a problem because I had this depot bus up. Like, all this was built, so I'd say like this wasn't built, but all of this right here was built. Okay. And I was like, well, shit, I don't have no space for Sandleaf. This is originally like this. Like, vertically, so like these ones. Vertically in like 2 rows, and it was real funky. I was like, how do I get this back to the depot loader? Because I was so stuck on like using this depot bus with depot loaders to put things into the depot, to move them around. But one time I did something, I don't know what I was doing, man. I think I was messing with it down here or up here, I don't know. And ended up making this like little corner. I think it was this corner first. I mean, this little corner thing. And I was like, huh, that's kind of cool. Couldn't I, like, make this into like a little square or something? And I did. I ended up making like this little square. And I was like, okay, well, now that I made this square, what do I do with it? Because I was like, well, I can't move this back. But I had this extra die. I keep calling things die. It's this little puck. This little depot bus port. And I was like, well, can't I just put that in the middle? Like, is that a problem? I think I had just moved it there because I was trying to just do something on NCAD. I just moved it to the middle, and I was like, hey, wait, we can just use that. So that's kind of cool. I have to wait, like, spirals in. I thought about trying to like move these off to the side and let it go all the way around, but it starts looking weird, so I didn't do it. And it was like weird crossover, and this looks fine. Down here, same concept, but I said, well, I can use the pack then, right? But the pack is 9. Like, it's a 9 by 9, so it's so weird that it will mess up your symmetry, but I said, F it, I don't care. Like, we'll just change the way the back looks. So it has a little butt crack back here. So with that in mind, though, I still had to have these extra planar. I just threw them back here. Just throw them back here. Like, you got space. It doesn't have to look perfect. So that's how this kind of came about. Was a lot of the other stuff I had been trying to do with planters finally came to fruition, to where I could fill up most of this with planters. And if I need more space, I think what I can do is like move these to the left. Excuse me. I don't know how I would do it though. I would do some with the buses, but this like little roundabout, what I'd have to do is something like make this go up and over and down. It's something I did in Valley 4, I didn't show you. So it has where you go up and over so that you can bring this one down and cross it. That's what you can do. And then you can, but I think that only works if it doesn't work in like a 2-spacer. You have to have like excuse me. It doesn't work in 1 space. Where? How come X doesn't always want to show me my grid, but whenever I try to take freaking pictures, it always shows me the grid? This thing is pissing me off, man. Every time I try to take the pictures, it gives me the grid, but this is what I want most of the time, is no grid. I just need this. This is actually perfect. God. Anyway, so we're done here. Let's go to Wuling City. Because Markerstone has a lot. Markerstone has a lot going on, okay? It has a lot going on. It was by far my favorite, but it really hurt my brain. Now, here in Wuling City, I started with this one, I'm pretty sure. I think this was the first one I made. I just put together this, like, I think I put this little H symbol together, and then I made a Forge of the Sky. I think I only had, like, 1 bar here. And I was like, that looks cool, right? Like, that's kind of, it's like 2.5 blocks, I think it is. If I moved it up 1. Alright, here, we can use it. Yeah, it's about 2.5 blocks, right? Like, it needs 2, then it has some, like, leftover. And I was like, okay, I want to, if I have to make 10 of these, I have to make 10 fit. So it needs to be small enough for 10 to fit, right? And I can technically move this, like, up, but we're kind of hard capped by these depot loader unloaders, right? That was, like, my limiting factor on space. But I also knew, like, I don't need to, I'm going to use this boundary. So this is what, 13 blocks. And then 9, at least 9, but that's 10. Plus whatever space I have here, right? So that's what I did. That's why this one looks a little different, because this uses up a little more space here than this one does. But I just kind of made it work. Instead of like messing with it and trying to make it look perfect and all that, just make it look good, because I have to use all this space anyway. I'm going to have an empty space. I'm not trying to make extra compact, right? So that's a big part of when you're building your factory. What are you trying to make? Are you trying to make ultra compact? You have to sacrifice certain things to do that. I'm not, so I have some freedoms within that. But now I have to use all 3 of my sub packs, right? If this was ultra compact, all this empty space would be like space to you to make another base or something, or make some other product, but quite frankly not needed. So I didn't do it. Some people have. With our decentralized production, however, it allowed for this to be small, much smaller than it needed to be. It could have been if I had to try and fit like planters along the side, because I think that's where I actually started, was like looking at this, how do I fit the planters along the side? And I was like, never mind, because I made Jingu Valley second. Actually, I made this first. I just made one of these first and then replicated it and then tried to see where I could fit planters. Like, this isn't gonna work. How do I get it somewhere else? Like, I want to decentralize this now. And so decentralizing your production, to me, makes it a lot easier, because when something starts going wrong, I don't have to diagnose and move around the entire chain of production, right? So when planters clog, more than likely it's not the planters, because they don't do anything besides make some plants. More than likely something else has happened. What's happened to me a lot is my shear night was capping, because I had the extra line of shear night before when you're making heavy shear night. So with that said, decentralizing it just let me make this all easier. This all was way less taxing on my brain, not having to deal with like the planters and where they go, right? especially sand leaf planters. The mix of sand leaf and Gen and it, like some uses water, some don't. And I ended up being able to make this. And so I just replicated it 8 times, and then I was like, hey, wait, can I just do this in the middle too? And I did, because I originally had them like along this side and along this side. I think I may have had like one little bar here or not. I can't remember. And it would have been like 4, 4, or like 6, like 3, 3, 3, 3. But then that's 12, and I was like, well, all 12 weren't going to go here, just 10. So that's when I came with like kind of putting some in the middle and some on the outside. Um, Small concepts I did with this water ring is that I kept trying to make it symmetrical, but I had the pipes ending at different areas. So this went up and came in. This one was like here, so now it looks a little weird. Same for this, right? Like this one went in. I think these were always kind of symmetrical though, like this going in, but it was always weird. But you can kind of bootleg it and just put pipe bridges to make it look like it. And you can just run the water ring around to make it symmetrical. So this is a way to get around symmetry, because this one has its pipe on the side, on the top, but then this one has its pipes on the bottom, right? So instead of trying to turn the forge or something, you can just replicate and kind of do it that way. That's kind of something I figured that out much later in the build though. This also meant my blueprints, I didn't have to make one blueprint for every forge, but I did end up with 3 different forge blueprints. The mid forges I made last, they were a very late addition. Because of this ring is a little different. I didn't realize how different this ring start is. It's on a different corner, and that throws everything off because I moved this back. I used to have it where the water came in here, and then you could use it, but I like this better. The boxes within boxes within boxes within boxes within one cell. And so, we ended up with 3. It just was easier also because of these depot loaders, like, so people didn't have to worry about it too much. But instead of like 4, it's 2. So it's this one in this corner, and it's mirrored down here. They mirror on a diagonal axis. And then these 2. And then same for this. Like this one up here, this one down here are the same. This one up here, this one down here are the same. And these 2 just get baked into the SE Wuling batteries. They just get baked in. So all of this is one blueprint. All of this is one blueprint. Now let's talk about batteries, actually. You might remember, the old build. Where is it? No, not this. I think this guy. Yeah, you might remember this long boy. You remember this guy? Remember this? So this is cute. I really like this still. I really liked how this looked. There's this cool symmetry where everything's split down the middle. This is what I meant, the pipes in the middle, right? But it didn't have much space for activities, as I'll call it. And so I was able to recoup some space by getting rid of like this entire like 4 or 5 blocks, and moving the factory down some, I believe. I was able to get some space and collapsing this down so there's not so much empty space. Even though I really liked this empty space, I thought this empty space added to the build instead of kind of taking away from it. And I really hate this. I'm gonna figure this out one day. I'm gonna figure out what to do with this. Because of what I could do, but it gets really janky if I move this up, move this down to, it goes up, 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 and we can have one coming out and going to the side. So it would look something like this, right? And then we move this down to, right? And then we put another depot loader here. So I'm gonna do something. I'm not doing it for both sides. So what we'll do is we'll do this. Yeah, we'll go like this. Oh, here we do this actually. This is another, like, if you're just trying to make something look pretty, right? It looks kind of stupid, but, like, whatever. Actually, I won't do that. I won't do that. I won't do that. Here, let's do this. This is just a demonstration. A demonstration of your reflexes. So we'll have it go down. So it comes down, goes around, and into the loader. Alright, something like that. But it'd be on both sides. I might do something like that. I kind of like whenever we have, like, highways, little highways, but this looks kind of bootleg, right? Like, I don't really like how this looks. Alternatively, I could have moved this up. But what needs to happen, if I move this up, it needs to go vertical at some point. Because this needs to cross. One of them needs to cross the other one somewhere. Because of this little junction. I don't know. But that's something I'll leave this as it is for now and fix it later. But I don't like this protocol stash being here. It messes up how everything looks. And I'm going to fix it before phase 2. Concepts here, though. Let's talk about concepts here. This was a weird one to build. Very, very weird. Because I was like, how do I flatten this thing? Excuse me. Like, is this it? Oh. No, God, no. Sorry, that's the wrong one. That's also the wrong one. Here. How do I flatten this? Because I knew I could do something of, like, collapsing in these top two... I'm pointing at my screen, my lord. These two grinders, collapsing them in... to make space, but I wasn't exactly sure how to do it. So it ended up looking like this, and utilizing this space to get this one sand leaf. I needed to maintain these two sand leaf outputs. That's another thing I meant to talk about, actually. I'll talk about it now. Balancing sand leaf. I freaking hated that we always ended up with extra sand leaf powder, like that one extra line. And I remember seeing a guy, he did the whole, like, limiting. He was the first person that showed me, I don't think I have one set up here anymore. No, I don't. The way you can use pipe splitters, convergers to... No, he wasn't that guy. He was talking about using a protocol stash as a load balancer. So what I could do is put this protocol stash here, right? So I'll do this. If this protocol stash is here, instead of these sitting on the line and waiting, it'll fill, right? So it's going in, but now it can't go through. So what it does, it will send it back to the depot, right? So that was the first time I saw someone talk about that. I was like, oh, hey, that's really cool. It's in one of my old builds somewhere. I don't know. I'm not looking for it again, but that was cool, right? So this is another thing you can do. There's no real need for it. Like, my Zircon refilling doesn't matter, or if it clogs up the thing, it doesn't really matter, but it can be nice to keep your stuff moving, right? This is going to stop. And on this side, you don't need it, because this is just going to 100% always be going, right? But I used some of the concepts I had learned of, like, grinders and how you get the 3 lines of sand leaf in, right? Like, the sand leaf powder on the one of them, you're going to need 3 slots, but the last 2, you only need 2 and 1, right? Like, 1 lane. I can move this back and it'd be fine. I can move this back one and it'd be fine. This one needs all 3, though. But I didn't really want to do, like, a step ladder thing because of this pylon's in the way. I'd have to move it back and move these up 1, and you're still stuck with the space, right? And I could put it here, but you see it doesn't reach those back ones. It's a whole thing. You gotta account for power all the time. But I also wanted this to cascade down. I love seeing the cascading of all of the parts going down. And so... Let me move over here. When you're standing in here, it's not as cool as the last one. There's so many. But I like seeing them anyway, where they're kind of worming their way through. The Zircon's worming its way up, right? I kind of like this little... I kind of like this now. This little exchange. Like, hey, I'm sending you Zircon. You're sending me back a battery. So I actually might incorporate this in, so I don't have to use this freaking protocol stash, and I can get my symmetry back. Even though it doesn't look as good as I would like for it to. And what I might do... I don't know yet. I'll figure it out. So that's some concepts here. And then there's my battery stuff. I'm not talking about that, though. But let's go to Marker Stone. Marker Stone's a big one. And if you're watching this video, you're probably waiting for Marker Stone. Of like, hey, man, talk about what you did at Marker Stone. Talk about pipes. I'm just talking. I am, what, 34 minutes in. So, 35. I'm yapping, bro. Marker Stone was the big one. Oh, my God. Okay, so let's talk about old stuff real quick first, because that's where we need to start. So I was talking about this little video, right? Oh, not video. That's these old ones. No, I'm in the right place. Go back. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? This guy. So this guy had... Ooh, I need that NCAD. So this guy had a lot going on in it, right? Like, objectively, a lot going on. But this was a big thing. I made a post here. I figured this out. This is like when I was first met. No, not this guy. That's when I'll come back to that one. That was funny. No one really liked that, but I thought that was kind of cool. Before I knew how conduits really worked. So is this? Oh, this is the post. Okay, so this is the post. So I actually started here. This was making Yazen. You can see where I love to draw on snipped screenshots. But I was looking at this and I was like, hey, wait, if you can output a liquid, couldn't you like what would happen if I output water somewhere? Like, what would happen? It works just fine. And I was very, very surprised by this. But I didn't know how it fully worked. And I saw a couple discussions on Reddit about it. And what I learned is what these things do is if you have this double output happening, right? Double Yazen is going on. But like this one over here, this top right one is making Yazen. And this left one are making Yazen. It will just send it through. Actually, more of the water. It's not the Yazen itself. The water is more what we're discussing here. So if I had this water going out, like I do here actually. So yeah, this water goes in and this goes out into the planter. What really happens is that this water full pumps through all this. Like, it does not get used in this reactor. It full pumps through into this planter. Once this planter fills to 50 water, clean water, it can't put but so much in there, right? And it starts to back up into here. As soon as this bad boy backs up, it sits in the reactor, and the reactor will use it to combine with the Yazen powder to make Yazen fluid. That's what's going on. Seeing it on a larger scale is this. So this was a very rudimentary build I had. I had some spaghetti builds, but it worked. So water comes in. This is two water pumps are connected to this one conduit to get two units of water a second. Each conduit uses half. A guy just made a video on this. Like, I went to use the bathroom and his video came through on my feed and I was like, I just was about to talk about this.
Hello everyone. This is just a
It's this video from Peter YR. He just talks about this in the third part right here. Very cool. I was like, hey, this guy talked about it. But what it is, my document's a lot less clean than his is, but you bring in two units of water a second. Each reactor uses 0.5, right? Until you end up with 0 output. But what's really going on is that it's full sending this 2 seconds of flow all the way through all 4 of these until it gets to this guy. It pools to 50, and then it backs up. Pools to 50, then it backs up. Here and here, it doesn't really pool though. It actually gets used kind of at the rate because it needs to send and use. That's the whole thing. I'm not going to go into it further, but if you want to see more, that guy explains it really well, much better than I do here. But he doesn't go into what's actually going on in terms of the pooling. He just talks about this basic idea, each one using 0.5. At the end, you'll have 0. Because what I was confused about was, like, how does this work? If I have another output, would it, like, does each one actually use, like, does it have, like, 0.5 here, then it sends along 1.5? No, it will full send 2 until it starts backing up, right? Because I had, like, a water tank I put out here, and it was, like, that water just shot right through all 4 of these things, so with that in mind, that informed this idea. I had an idea about how these pipes now worked and how you could pass fluid forward and through. We see it here. We're clean. I should have moved this clean water down to right here. But clean water's coming in and going through. So instead of having 4 pipes coming off of this, just 1 for each, and then they pass along their fluid. However, I thought about this. Well, if I'm consuming clean water by passing it through, right? Isn't the reverse also technically true? That was what you saw. Oh my god, I closed it, didn't I? Okay, it's right here. It's in here somewhere because I didn't open the whole thing. That is what we see going on. Oh, right here. No, I need to open the other one, don't I? Oh, not this. I'm sorry. Here. That is what you see going on with this Yazen. I wanted to see if I could, like, pass Yazen through, right? Like, could I pass this through so I don't have to run this pipe over? It doesn't matter. I just want to see if I could do it. Yes, you can. So I ended up using that here, where if I can just pass Yazen through, and you can pass clean water through to be used, can you pass a liquid through that would collect? Yes. So that's where this liquid Sheeranite going into here comes from. It doesn't pool. It sends it out immediately to wherever it's going, and it gets distributed out. So that's what's going on here. So that's where these 2 lanes come from. It's bringing in sewage and dumping. Why are all these? Oh, it doesn't like splitters very much, but whatever. So it's bringing down sewage, dump, bringing down sewage, dump, bringing down sewage, dump, and the sewage goes in. And then with liquid Sheeranite, it's sending it over, going down. I think it's going in right there too. Right? What did I do here? Splitter. I don't know why that's not going in, but there should be a splitter right here. Probably just because I wasn't as good at doing NCAD back then. That's a splitter right there. Going in, and then finally terminating there, right? Oh no, that's right. I ended up changing this. It was like 1, 2, and then 1, 2. But here we're collecting. So we have this inert coming out. It crosses over and goes up. I don't need this here, actually. That's not supposed to be there. So it goes up. Another inert comes across and gets collected. Another inert comes across and gets collected. Another inert comes out and gets collected. And they all go to water treatment. Right? So I was like, oh, okay. Like, we got some stuff going on here. Collect with the convergers and whatnot and splitters. This all comes together to make marker stone. This crazy marker stone. Now, this marker stone has a lot going on, but from what I just explained, you might be able to see it now. We're passing and collecting and like splitting, diverting. What do I call it? I don't know, dropping off water. So let's start with the water, because that's probably the easiest. I'm gonna turn it upside down here. Water comes in, 2 pumps of water, 2 units of water a second. Comes in. This is actually 3. The 4th comes from here, but I'm gonna just call it 4 or 2. Sorry. This is actually 1.5, and then the other half comes from here, but I'm gonna just call it 2 because that's what's going here. That full ass pipe. Look at that thing. It's crazy. So when you have a 3-way splitter, it technically splits the water in 3-way. So you can think of it as a what, 0.68? What the hell is what's 2 divided by 0.3? 6.66 repeating. Oh wait, I did that wrong. 2 times 0.3. I want 30%. 0.6. So each one is about 0.6. That should be repeating though. Because 0.3. Oh, it's just not showing me full decimals for some reason. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But it's going to be like 0.6 something. No, whoa, I did that wrong. Did I do it wrong? 2 times 0.3? 3. Okay, actually, I did do it wrong. That's 30%, but I need like 33%. It's better than 2 divided by 3. What? Why, bro? Okay, I swear to y'all. I swear to y'all. I know math. Alright? I swear to you, I know math. I'm just getting old. Multiply by 3, you get 2. So it's like 0.66 repeating, 0.66 repeating, 0.66 repeating, right? Like, you just don't listen to me. It's split up into 3. It's split up into 3 and it goes out. But we still have this, I'm sorry. What really matters here, I've been yapping and that kind of broke the flow, so I'm going to get back into it. What really matters here is that it splitting it into 3 does not limit you in terms of you need 4, right? We need 4, 1 for each crucible. The same concept will happen of backing up, alright? So backing up and clogging is not a bad thing. What the hell is this? Oh, that's one of my stuff. Cuprium. What happens is this one gets too much because it only needs 0.5 technically, right? Each one uses half, like 0.5, but it's getting 0.6. So eventually it backs up. This one's getting 0.6. Eventually it backs up. This one is getting 0.6, but it's getting split between these two to 0.3, right? So when these two back up, that extra fluid gets sent down this pipe to balance out into 0.5, 0.5. That's what happens. That's the concept here. Whenever you have too much somewhere, it's okay because the pipes will balance themselves out. That's also this concept. This is another 0.6, 0.6, 0.6, but there's too much. It eventually sends it down the middle and splits again. And that balances everything out to 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. I should have used 4 and 1s, but it's fine. So, in addition to that, we have clean water is going out. Now let's turn upside down again. Woo. Actually, we'll stay in this. We'll stay here. We'll stay like this. This is how the NCAD is. So, that's our splitting. We bring in a resource and we split it out, right? Split. Well, I said we use the concept of collecting as well. That's the zircon effluent here at Orange. So, these two up here don't need zircon effluent for anything. They just kind of make it. It needs to get down here to these two. Well, by the same token of how clean water works, of dropping stuff off, you can use it for collecting and dropping off. So it comes out of here. This is half a unit. Goes up. It picks up this guy's half a unit. Now we have 1 unit of zircon effluent flowing through here. Goes around back. Connects into here. Now we have 1.5. Right? And you can pass that along into here. So you're passing on 1.5, and then this also has a half. This is 2. So we went in reverse. We pooled our zircon into 2 instead of reducing it from 2 down to 0. What happens here, I can't show you because I'm only making half, but what happens here is that this thing gets supercharged full of zircon effluent. Alright? It gets supercharged. It will cap out to 50. And that's okay. As long as your sewage doesn't cap, you're alright. What it will keep doing is it then clogs, because it needs 2 zircon effluent. So it clogs eventually. It's getting too much. When this guy clogs, this gets backfilled. Right? So this is making 1 and then receiving 2. When this clogs, this will use whatever is sitting in its reserves. And it will also make its zircon. And it just keep doing this over and over and over and over. And there's no lag between it. It will not, like, clog up and all that. It doesn't do it. It works as it's supposed to. So that's another way of, like, collecting. So that's how I save so much pipe space here. I say that. But that's what I think is the elegance of this design of collecting and dumping. And then the water collecting and dumping. And distribution, that's what I was thinking of. Not divergence or divulgence. Distributing the water. So we distribute the 2 units of water amongst these 4. Here we collect the zircon effluent and distribute them amongst these 2, right? Well, same concept with the inert zircon. We pool it together. This is half, this is half. Shoots, now this is 1. Collects another half. Collects another half from here. So now we have 2 flowing through into the purification unit, which needs 4. Because you double it. I'm talking about 2 a second. Double it. You get 4 every 2 seconds, right? That's how that works. Pretty cool, right? I am in a tizzy now, though, because I was not aware. Oh, no, that's not true. I'm a little unsure how we're going to make double heavy Sheer Knight at full output. Because each one needs 6 Sheer Knight outputs. And I don't know how we're going to do that. Anyway, that's for me to figure out later. So that's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. So that and then we run this back. Right now, I'm running this back into the Crucible because we're making everything at like half. And this is what gives me not exactly half Zircon, a little over half. Is running this Zircon line back in. But I'm not going to explain what's going on here. Actually, I will. This is the half a minute. If you're using my current build of 12 gourds, you may not have even looked at this, but it's half Zircon. That's what I keep calling it because it's easier than saying 7.5 is just half. The way you get this, the 1 extra 1.5 is by pumping this Zircon back in. And not having this one send. If you have this send, it does something weird. Like this thing backs up clogging with sewage. I had to keep watching it. So what is happening is we are still collecting all this Zircon and pulling it here. But everything's working like not as fast as it should. I'm not going into it. It's just because we only have 2 lines of Sheer Knight coming out. So up here, it's working differently. So this one is making kind of a regular amount of Zircon. It's like a little break every once in a while. But for the most part, it's making like 0.75 Zircon or something that's like that. Like 75% of normal Zircon. I think a little bit more. This guy, I was a little confused about. Of like, where is it getting its Zircon from? But then I was like, oh yeah, from down here. So it makes 1 Zircon, but it needs another Zircon effluent to come in. And that comes from this piping into this purification unit, which every once in a while supplies it with another Zircon effluent. Like, I think this actually goes to 0 every once in a while, doesn't it? Maybe it doesn't because of the length of the pipe. It has enough space to like never go to 0. But like right there, it goes to 0 because that pipe's so short, right? And when you see that, that's this thing turning to 2 and then making a Zircon. That's kind of what's going on. So it needs 2 Zircon to make it up here. But that might be a little confusing, but I might make a whole video about just I don't know. I already made one. Go watch that. Some other concepts in this. We use that very similar concepts to make this. I was very proud of this actually because it was I kept seeing a lot of people doing 5 reactors over here, and I was like, why are we using 5? You only need 4. But I kept seeing a lot of 5s because I think they were sending this purification unit stuff into another reactor. I think that's what I kept seeing, and I was like, you don't need to do that. You can actually reuse these things. I'm gonna tell you what, it was this damn simulation that got me that. This simulation was kind of goated. Where is it? This guy is kind of goated. These two kind of goated simulations actually, but only I think it was more goated because at this point I knew how the factory worked, and so I could actually follow what they were trying to teach this time. Very good stuff, but these 2 concepts kind of helped me understand this. You can use all 8 of these. I believe you do this one in the simulation, and I was like, well, same thing, right? Like these things can make more than 1, right? Like you have 2 outputs as long as you use the output, but like here, this is making inert. So I like what's going on here. Let me go back a second to the Sheer Knight, the Zircon production. What I think is so cool about this thing is that it's making liquid Sheer Knight, and then it's using that liquid Sheer Knight it has. It doesn't send it out. It's using that liquid Sheer Knight to make Zircon effluent. But this doesn't happen immediately. What actually happens first is this. The Zircon effluent plus Ferium powder makes 1 Zircon and then 1 sewage. That 1 sewage then reacts inside the Crucible reactor itself with this 1 liquid Sheer Knight. You get this. Then you make another Zircon and you make a inert. And it just goes over and over. I was like, man, that's so cool. So same concept here. Same concept is happening here. But this one does have to send its cuprium solution out. But it receives its pure blood and all that. So it doesn't do anything like within itself, but it's fine. But if I had kind of did this one first, this up here, and I was like, hey, wait a second. If you can do pure blood back in here and send it out, can't I like do Yazen solution in one of these too? So I don't have to have a whole other Yazen reactor. I can just use it here. Yes, you can. I was really happy to figure that out. I need to shrink this down. I need to move. Oh, I need to do this. Actually, no, I don't. Because if I do that, we end up with an extra pipe right here. I could move this up, but then it's on a line. I don't want that out of line. So let's look at janky for now. Anyway, so that's what's going on here. So I also learned about pass-through. I think the very first time I learned about pass-through was somebody on Reddit talking about you can pass through using this port. That happens back here. It passes through Sheeranite down. Same concept. It passes through. This overfills with Sheeranite. At some point that allows this. You'll see this click on for a second to make some liquid Sheeranite. See this? Makes liquid Sheeranite. This makes enough. It makes some zircon. And then it passes it on. Right? Passes on the zircon and that. But then it turns off after a while. But I think you see it more on this side. It does it a lot more of turning on, turning off. So over here, I originally actually had this cuprium passing through. And that worked fine. But I ended up just liking seeing this crawl more. That's the only reason I kept it. There was nothing in the middle that kind of got in the way, so I didn't worry about it too much. And I instead moved the Ferium powder from up here down to the middle here and just passes. I pass that through now. Don't need to change the port because it comes in here and needs to go out right there, but whatever. Here, same concept as a zircon effluent, right? So if we know we can pull things together and pass it through one that will collect it, why not, right? Why not? So I sent this cuprium solution out of orange. It goes and collects here with this orange, which if you put this right on top, it acts really funky. It does not like when you do a converger right on top. I don't know what it is about the solution. That's why I have this one space right here. Instead of running both of these down, I have that one space because it derps up a lot. I don't know what it is. And then it pulls that into here, collects, and sends it on. Makes this thick boy right here, 3 of 4. Then it collects from right here on yellow and sends all 4 cuprium solution into the purification unit. You get your 1 pure blood, it goes in. Now, with this thing, you cannot add this in, right? So purification units need 4, and it takes 2 seconds to make 1 hedonite. You can't really add this line back into here. What you could do though is if I was to combine these 2 production lines, right? Like this right here, and because you'll need this purification unit as well. This pure blood line and this pure blood line would need to connect somewhere with a converger and then go into this crucible. So I'd probably bring it down through here and send it over and connect. That's what I'd have to do. Then this would make 4.5 hedonite on its own, right? But I didn't really want to mess with all this too much. So I just did it somewhere else. This way I don't have to worry about trying to move this powder over to here and fit this in and then have these 2 more crucible. Like, I didn't want to deal with all that, so I just kind of put it up here. But you could do it, but that's what you have. You have to combine the pure blood together to 1 input and put it here. You can't send all 6 cupriums into this purification unit. I was very happy to work on this little gearing unit contraption with this liquid heavy Sheeranite. So we know we can make Yazan over here. We know we can make hedonite over here. Well, I wanted some liquid heavy Sheeranite because I go exploring in the world, which I finally used it yesterday. So I, was like, hey, can't I just make this in this one? Like, I needed one that had an extra port, right? Because the only thing they're really putting out is blood. Like, I had it where they were putting out the liquid as well, the piss, but I ended up taking that out. Because it was getting weird with the ports and how many more pipes I ended up getting by having, the output come out right there. And like if you've been using things, you know we're already kind of tapped out on ports. So up here, I saw somebody using, someone once talked about, I don't remember where I saw that either, about using like switches to send things in places, and I really want to try that, of like, how could I make this kind of like switch and do this and that. Now, what I saw someone talking about was like, they had a whole contraption that when one side filled up, it went to a different side, right? Which technically that still does work here, because if you have this lane open and this lane open, you get way more heavy shearinite flowing into the gearing unit. And so once it caps out at 50 in here, instead of it like trying to send more or something, it will just divert it back into the loader, right? That's all it does. This will just kind of use it all. It just makes headlight parts get made so slow, it will just get sent in. So I kind of wanted something like that. It was like more of a proof of concept. I don't really need it because you don't need any of these. You can just let it full send and then it just backs up at the loader, right? But I wanted to try this in case I used it one day that I knew how to do it. That's why that's there. With a look at heavy shearinite, someone mentioned that this is kind of cramped, but there's a lot of extra space in this build. Like I just fit this filling unit in here. You can fit it up there. I put this. This is because I started doing the Illuvium and I have turrets, so I just throw a battery in there to do it. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm not gonna pause this. It's gonna be kind of weird. Some dead space. Okay, I'm sorry. I know that was a little weird, but I just smashed my elbow. Woo! Gotta keep it PG-13. Can't be cussing too much. Oh, frick! That worked. All right. Anyway, I got a peppermint too while I was up. So, I love these things, but they do come in handy. I just have kind of tried to work around not having to use them and just letting things back up like this if I can instead. But it does regulate. So like making liquid heavy shearinite, it doesn't go into another product, and so it doesn't matter if I just full send this, right? Full blast it, like because you can just keep putting in a filling unit and however many bottles you want to send out is however many you get. What else? What are the concepts? Sideways refining units, I use these a lot before. They're kind of bootleg, but I use them a lot. I use them here because we're more limited on vertical space than we were on horizontal space, as you can see. That's what's going on here. I also try to use the conduits as a mobile network. So instead of conduits for the Yazen and the liquid heavy shearinite being these stationary things you can't move around, with the ability to move conduits within a pack and them not like break their connection, this is like a hose you can turn on to get stuff out of it, right? Well, I put this filling unit here, but I mean I can move this like right here. Well, I would get rid of this. This was I'm gonna get rid of this. This was temporary. I didn't have many bottles of liquid shearinite, so what you could do is just have it sitting out here, and you could connect it. Oh, I backed that up. Oh no, I didn't. Bro, like that. So you can have that going in. And now you got liquid heavy shearinite going in and it's applied to here. Now the real thing you can do is you can use conduit inlets like water tanks, actually. You can actually just like, here, I'll show you. So what you can actually do, oh, let me get this. So this is going to make some liquid heavy shearinite here in a second, right? I think I just made some. Yeah, there you go. There's some going through. Conduit inlets actually store like 500 liquid, right? So you can just let this thing fill up to 500 like this. And then anytime you want some, and then over here too, so I actually have 1,000 or 921. Anytime you want some, you just go to the tap and get some. Like, you don't actually have to keep this in a water tank or fluid tank or whatever. You can let it sit in the outlet. Especially because the outlet and inlets for these are contained already to the AIC. It's not like these ones down here that have to go out to the fluid source, right? The fluid source is a crucible reactor. So if you're like, oh man, I want to make some more bottles, right? How many do you guys have to go through? 5? Okay, reached it. So if you're like, I want to make some more bottles, I'm done sourcing, you can actually move this guy up here. And then I had to put this pylon here because of the changes I did, and I really don't like it, but like whatever. I can probably put it there as a better place, but so you're like, I want to get some of that stuff. So I got a filling unit. Might better do it like here. Whatever. You have your filling unit. You put your like depot unloader. Set it to your bottles, whatever bottles you want to use. Was it products? I think they're bottles. Yeah. You'd say like Varium bottle. I only have 600. I got 80,000 in another place. I need to transfer some over, but you set your bottles and then you just bring this guy down. Like this outlet one, you'd bring this down. I'll move this back to like here. Set it like here, and then you just let the water hose out, right? Let it go in, and then set your belt output to somewhere. I just combined it because I already had a loader, but you just put a loader wherever you want, right? And now you got your bottles going. Once you're done, you don't stash this, you just put it back. And so you can just do something like that, right? So there's a lot of space to work with in this base. It's just maybe not very obvious how to use it. I think that's it. There's some pack stuff. I'm not talking about this too much. This is pretty simple stuff, right? You just use your pack outputs to make something. Oh, I want to talk about this thing. I want to talk about this. This is my last thing. This is the last thing I'm talking about. Dang, we're over an hour. Man, thanks. Y'all just listen to me yap, man. That's cool. This thing is really cool. So, if you remember, there was a massive chunk of that right here. Do I have a picture of that still? I think it's in this version, right? Yeah, you see this thing? I'm not explaining this, but it has to do with like properly diverting 1, 1, 2. Okay, like units of piss. I did a lot of practicing with this thing and trying to figure this out, and up here as well. It's not showing there. Maybe use this one. This little contraption right here. This was throwing me up. I was racking my brain for a simple solution, because sometimes the simplest solution, it's not a. Sometimes there is a simple solution that I'm not looking at. It's same for like right here. So here I ran into this problem. There's too much sewage going into here. Like both of these only need like literally like 0.4 of 1 or something. I don't know. It's some weird number. And I kept this refining unit kept backing up because I just had this one line going in. And I was trying to figure out how do I do like an overflow valve to like when it fills up it goes somewhere else. All this other mess. Didn't need it. Just needed to combine these and do a splitter so that when this one fills up it just sends the excess here. That simple. Alright, that simple. But while I was doing that, I watched this video. Let me find your boy. Because this was I'm sure it's been talked about somewhere else, but this was a kind of important video for me. So our boy Bucky here, our friend Bucky, our friend Bucky here, did this little, it was a Reddit post into this video that they talked about. This Reddit post. They talked about how this works and how this fluid moves through, and it prevents other fluid from going through, so it pushes the fluid into one way. Okay, that's what they talked about. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool, right? And I had this test. I don't think I even have the blueprint anywhere anymore. Do I? Maybe I do. Let me see. I did this weird test before of could I have a not Sky King. Could I have one filling unit doing Yazen bottles and doing liquid heavy shear night bottles? Yes, you can. But where is it? It might be this one, actually. Is this it? Yeah, this right here. This actually worked. Liquid Heavy Sheeranite, Yazen. It actually worked. It would alternate on which bottle came out. Right? It was really cool. Because I wanted just a bottle of Liquid Heavy Sheeranite, but I was also making Yazen C. Right? What this does, this fluid comes in, this fluid comes in. It sends, because of how convergers work, it does not just take 50 Yazen or 50 Liquid Heavy Sheeranite. It takes one pass. One Yazen comes in, it passes it. Then it will go to the next port and say, who's next to come in? Oh, if it's not blocked, if the output is blocked, then it gets kind of screwy, but whatever. So it's clear, right? And it will wait. It will wait because the bottles are not moving very fast here. This is like a really scuffed production line. It will hold this guy and say, you're next, wait in line. And it'll hold it in here, 1 unit of Liquid Heavy Sheeranite. Once this bottle leaves, it accepts the Liquid Heavy Sheeranite and starts making a Liquid Heavy Sheeranite bottle. Then the Yazen is queued up. And it just goes back and forth. It was really cool to see. I was surprised that it worked. I didn't think it would work that way, but it does. Using that concept, we can use this. Okay? So in the previous build... boy, do I have it? Do I have it somewhere? I have it somewhere. I don't know. Is this? No, that's the expansion one. Maybe this guy? No. Okay, I don't know where it's at. But one of them, if you might recall, just had this long line of sewage going down to connect into here. I don't know where things are. It's somewhere around here. Oh, let me get out of all these. Okay. But I moved all this over, so am I just going to run a long-ass line all the way over and down? I could. But then I got to thinking. I already got to dump this conduit, this right here. That needs to get dumped out back. It needs to get dumped all the way back here. I don't recycle the precipitation acid yet. So it needs to get dumped here. Right? And I thought, man, I don't want to put 2 conduit outlets over there. Like, that's kind of just wasting space, right? I don't want to do that. What if I just have it combined with this again? Right? Like, what if it just combines with this one and they both go in? I think that's what was already going on, right? But I got this idea. Instead of running and combining the sewage here, right? So all the way up here. You see how this goes out eventually? Because this thing is running at like half. Right? There's not... This eventually goes to 0. That goes to 0. Oh, that's kind of weird. In addition, this is one unit. Or half a unit of precipitation acid running through this pipe. Right? It looks really long, but what's really happening here is that this if this was one pipe, it would drain out. Like if I did like this, let me see. Can I actually force it to? Yeah, I'll do this. So it's gonna be kind of derpy right there, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll do converger and converger. Will that do it? Okay, it's been a little butt. But anyway, if I could make it into one section, it would eventually... Maybe I don't use a converter. Maybe just a splitter. Why you been a little butt, bro? Will it do it here? Well, like, it drains all the way out. Okay, it's not showing it. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, when it's only half a unit, this pipe will eventually drain out. But because it's so long... it has enough time for another half unit to get in. That's what's going on. Call it half unit. Because half a unit every second or 1 unit every 2 seconds. This would eventually drain out if you make it like 4. So that means there's space to add in another output of this and dump it out, right? It's not constrained to the waste treatment. I just kept thinking, man, can't I do that? Can't you combine it? And I thought, well, okay, so if this is not even a full thing of sewage, and I was already combining with this, which is also not a full thing of sewage, because one water treatment can deal with one full output from a refining unit. That's why there's 4. That's why there's 2. So like these 4 go here. These 2 come from up here. But this isn't a full one, because this isn't making Hedanite at full. See how they're just waiting? This is about half. This is like half. This is another. This is like a quarter, right? This is like a quarter, but it's so long, if it doesn't look like, it doesn't ever empty the pipe. And this is just whatever fraction it is. So this water treatment can deal with both of those. And I moved this down. I was like, oh, can I just use like pipe controls and force it? Yeah, you can. You actually don't even need this one. If you have this one, what it does, the converger will not send sewage here because the precipitation acid is sitting in there. It's something weird like that. I don't know. I tested it for like an hour and it never clogged. It was kind of weird. But I put this here so that it doesn't mess up, because if somebody else uses it, if it was just me, I didn't share blueprints, I would just leave it. And if it breaks, I'll just figure it out. But because y'all are using it too, I don't want you to have to try and troubleshoot what's going on. So I just put it in as like a safety measure. But you can see it. You can't see it here, I don't think, right? Yeah, you can't see it here. Up here, you can see it swap between the icons. You see it just swaps? I really like seeing that. But then it doesn't swap in here. It's very weird. I don't know. It's weird. But you can see it too. I think they show it coming in. Right? That's like lit up. I think this one lights up. Or that one's just like dark. Okay, whatever. I never actually looked at this to see what it does. But it's pretty cool to see it swapping back and forth. And then down here, it's moving it around. So that was something I was very proud of. To be able to figure out and do. An understanding of the fluids a little bit. So that's my yap. I don't know if you listen to this. I mean, I hope you enjoy listening to me yap. I like yapping, so I had a good time. I think that's all for now. Yeah, that's all for now. I'll talk about it some more. Anyway, I'll probably see y'all again like Tuesday or Wednesday for Phase 2 and the deployment of Phase 2. This Phase 2 stuff is already done. Some of this is not properly modified. I forgot to bring my work computer home. I should have went and got it, but I need a break from doing the factory like every day, so it's fine. I left it at work. But this is what you can kind of expect going forward. Something like this, and then we'll have to tackle how we're going to make this twice when we need 6 shear night outputs, but we will have 10 forges. And I'm not quite sure how we're going to do that. I think we're going to need... I don't know. I'm going to yap about that here. I'll figure that out later. I have a week to figure that out before the second half 1.2 drops, so... But this is kind of what we're going to be using. So it's already ready, and I should have it... I'm going to build it and let it sit for at least overnight before I make the blueprints and send it out. I need to make sure it works for you all. We'll have plenty of time. We'll have plenty of time to get all the materials out of the shop. Okay, so don't worry. And get your trimmed metal if you want it. So don't worry about like, oh no, I got to get it the day of. You'll be fine. Alright, that's it. That's all for now.